Hello BookTube! Right, it's Wednesday, and that means it's time for my Reset Wednesday Reflections video. And yeah, trying to stick to my promise and make these weekly videos, right? And for the past week, I've been so, surprisingly happy. It's amazing what a little social interaction can do to you. Right, my level of happiness has risen like this, and now I'm kind of hoping that the landing will be relatively slow and steady, that I won't come just crashing down, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And reading wise, it's been quite successful. I've read or finished only one book, but I've been steadily and successfully reading, the other books that I have here. So there's no kind of reading slump. So all is good. So the book that I finished is, it's a bit of glare there. Wilson by Daniel Clowes. And this is a comic book, and it's about this Wilson, very cantankerous man who really says what he wants, doesn't shy away from blurting the truth out there just like that. I could show you some examples. Like, it's the very first page. He's walking his dog, decides to have a chat with another person. Yeah. And in the end, he says, I'm gonna translate a bit. Oh, Jesus Christ, can't you shut up your mouth, or shut your mouth, something like that. And I think this plays on the American sort of. I guess it's sort of American polite habit where you meet another person and then you ask, "How are you?" and then you expect the answer to be, "I'm fine, thanks. How are you?" "I'm fine, thanks." That kind of stupid senseless interaction. So he asks here, "How are you?" and then this other person starts to tell her life story. And yeah, that's not what you expect if you're asking how are you. You just expect I'm fine, right? And then another one, again walking his dog. This one says cute dog. Another person, cute dog. Third person, cute dog. Fourth person doesn't say anything about the dog. And then Wilson will say, pardon my language, asshole. So yeah, I'm not really, I did not like this book that much in the end. It was alright, and the humor, that very dark black humor, clicked with me sometimes, but most of the time it just didn't work. So if you're interested, borrow it from the library or something. So yeah, very black humor, has its moments at times. But I'm still interested in reading his other works. So I just borrowed from the library Ghost World, based on another booktuber's recommendation. So let's hope I will like this one more. Alright, and then to the other reads. Well, obviously I'm still reading The Divine Comedy by Dante. Going rather slowly but steadily, following the Divine Comedy series that Tom at Tom LA Books is doing. So if you're still not on board, still plenty of time. Start watching those videos and catch up. And then I'm still reading Sinuhe, egyptiläinen by Mika Waltari, or The Egyptian. And yeah, I'm like 25% in the book, and I'm already so immersed in this ancient Egypt, the setting and the history and the film, all the gods and mythology and stuff like that. Like I want to explore more this context. But yeah, this is a reread for me. It's been like 15 years before I read this, and quite frankly I have forgotten very much about this, so it's good that I'm rereading it. And yeah, Sinuhe, our main character, is an orphan, and he was rescued and then adopted by this couple, and one of them is a doctor, and Sinuhe follows in his footsteps. And yeah, so far we have followed Sinuhe on his journey, like his education to become a doctor and his sort of journeys across different countries like Syria and is it Babylon or Babylonia in English? Well, Babylon in Finnish. And yeah, it made me think how lucky we are, or how fortunate we are this day to have our healthcare at such a good level as it is. Like here there's, for example, one scene where they are drilling one patient's skull, and you can imagine how unhygienic and unsterile that environment was back in the day. Like, how do you clean your equipment? You basically sterile it by cleansing it in the fire. And obviously that wouldn't be enough today. Like, just yesterday I had some lectures on surgery, and it's amazing. I use that adjective a lot. Yeah, it's amazing how much attention we pay to all the equipment and instrument being sterile these days. And what else? Yeah, there's also one. So I guess I also want to say that there's one thought that came to my mind. Like, was it in the Victorian ages when doctors used to carry their equipment in their pockets? So yeah, it's so that attention to sort of cleanliness and hygiene hasn't been around, that long when you think about it. So yeah, there's also one excellent scene where there's this very young king of Babylon, and he has some ache in his tooth and some kind of abscess of sorts. And yeah, of course there's Sinuhe comes to treat this king, and it just handled so well with the interaction between Sinuhe and this young spoiled brat of a king. That's really well done. And then I had forgotten how much of a comedic figure Sinuhe's servant or slave Kaptah actually is. He is quite a character. It gives this novel some kind of picaresque quality. At times it makes me think of Don Quixote by Cervantes. So yeah, we'll tell more about that in future videos. And then the third book that I'm reading, Canti by Giacomo Leopardi, and yeah, I'm still enjoying these poems. For the most part, our translator Jonathan Galassi is doing very good job, at least translating the essence of the poem. Like in a lot of ways they carry the spirit of the original across to English, I think. But there are some instances where I wish that Galassi had been braver and actually attempted to use end rhymes. So I think he took the easy way when he shouldn't have. I thought I'd read you a small sample from one poem. This is called First Love, or Il Primo Amore, and this is not the best example of Leopardi's poetry. This is probably one of the lamest and perhaps even the weakest of the poems here. But the example that I want to show you is more to highlight what I just said about the qualities of the poetry. Alright, First Love. That day comes back to mind when I first knew the strife of love and said, "Ah me, if this is love, it is such misery." When, with eyes still staring at the ground, I saw the one who, in all innocence, first opened up a way into this heart. Oh, how badly did you treat me, love? Why did such sweet feeling have to bring so much desire and pain along with it? So yeah, that was the English translation. And as you probably heard, there's no end rhymes. But then the Italian version. Tornami a mente il di che la battaglia d'amor senti la prima volta e dissi: Oimè, se quest'amor con me travaglia. Che gli occhi al suo tuttora intenti e fissi, io mirava colei che questo core primiera il varco ed innocente aprissi. Ahi, come mal mi giovernasti, amore. Perché seco dovea si dolce affetto, recar tanto desio, tanto dolore. So here we have these stanzas with, I'm not sure if you can see, but the first line and the third rhyme, they always form this end rhyme, and the middle line becomes the end rhyme for the next stanza. So here we have dissi, and here it becomes fissi and Aprissi. You know, that kind of structure is carried throughout the whole poem. So that's the kind of, you know, small problem that I had with these translations, that Galassi could have tried a bit more. But like I said, overall I'm very, you know, pleased with these translations. They are very they take good care of the spirit of the original, I would say. And then I'm of course, you know, a bit disappointed by the notes in the end. They well, he mentions that this is not, you know, a scholarly edition, but these notes feel more scholarly than contextualizing, even though they're supposed to contextualize the poems. What I guess I mean is that I hope there would have been more, you know, interpretation about the poems in the notes, rather than just, oh, there's this one word in this line that's apparently reference to some poet some poem by Petrarch or whatever. So yeah, that's, you know, a very minor thing, but rather irritating nonetheless. Yeah, and nothing else this week. I don't think. I didn't watch any movies. I watched a lot of booktube instead. I guess that's one of the, you know, downsides of being on booktube myself now. Like, I want to support other booktubers and watch their videos a lot more, and, you know, there's that kind of positive stress. Yeah, I guess that's all for this week's Reset Wednesday reflections, and yeah, see you next week.